Good morning to all attendees. We are here today to present a new digital solution that BASF has developed to enable the animal protein value chain and more specifically the feed industry to contribute to the European Green Deal. My name is José de los Llanos and I am a marketing manager at BASF Animal Nutrition. Today on stage with me is Dr. Christoph Gunther, PhD in animal nutrition and our senior sustainability expert. Good morning, Christoph.
Good morning, Jose.
Before we dive deeper into the topic of today, we shall put our audience in context. With the goal of enabling the value chain to optimize performance of their businesses while minimizing environmental impact, BASF has been investing heavily on its digital innovation suite. Currently, we have two specific digital tools and the plan to create a value-creating ecosystem through partnerships. The first digital tool is Cloud Farms, a precision livestock management software focused on continuously improving the efficiency of farming. On the other hand, we have AgBalance Livestock, the tool that we are presenting today, with a focus on the enablement of a sustainable feed and animal protein value chain. But we know that we cannot achieve lasting change on our own. This is why we are collaborating daily with leading companies in the feed and animal protein value chain to leverage the synergies of our solutions and build the future digital ecosystem of our industry. But talking more specifically about sustainability, we need to consider, of course, the European Green Deal. Since the announcement of the EU Farm to Fork strategy as part of the Green Deal, everybody has been talking about the implications for the livestock sector. This new strategy implies a paradigm shift for our industry, where the environmental concerns of livestock come to the forefront. Specific measures announced by the Farm to Fork strategy are, just to name a few, a carbon farming initiative already to be presenting in 2021, the transformation of the farm accountancy data network into a sustainability data network, highlighting the need for the quantifications of the environmental impact, and even a proposal for a labeling framework to empower the end consumer at retail to choose the food he or she eats on the basis of sustainability. These initiatives and the overall goal of the Green Deal to significantly reduce the environmental impact of food production requires that farms and feed producers are supported and advised in their sustainable management choices. But if I understand it correctly, Christoph, this shift towards sustainability is not only currently pushed by policy. Is that correct?
That is right, Jose. Many retailers and companies are demanding a change for their supplier. This is very apparent with, for example, the Science Based Target Initiative, a multi-stakeholder initiative led by the UN to limit global warming below 2 degrees. Already 62 retailers and 16 European ones are among them, like Metro, Aldi or Lidl, have joined this initiative. Here I would like to mention also the Gigaton project of Walmart in the US. In this project, Walmart commits to reducing the carbon footprint of its supply chain by 1 gigaton. That's quite a lot.
This is interesting, Christoph. But I wonder, is this just a promise, or are they actually implementing measures that have an impact on the livestock sector?
In fact, they are, and this is happening globally. Very recent examples from Germany are the introduction of climate-neutral chicken by Rewe, or also a climate-neutral milk by Aldi. In the UK, Marks & Spencer have stopped using soy for feed their dairy from their suppliers. And in Austria, the discounter Hofer started to offer pork and beef as carbon neutral. Consumers are starting to base their buying decision also on sustainability claims, and retailers know that.
I see. Is there then a potential to optimize the livestock production according to environmental impact rather than simply offsetting those carbon emissions?
Indeed, there is. The largest meta-analysis of global food systems to date, published in Science in 2018, shows a great variability of the carbon footprint of animal protein products. If we manage to introduce best practices in terms of sustainable production on a broader basis, we already take a big step towards Green Deal targets. And producers delivering products with a reduced carbon footprint are better prepared to fulfill the demand of the consumers, the retailers, and the policymakers.
I understand. From my understanding, however, first, this environmental impact needs to be quantified, and we need to understand where it is coming from so that we can reduce it. Do we know anything about where the quick wins are?
Indeed, we do. Many studies point out that approximately half of the carbon footprint of poultry, ruminants, and pork production come from the production of feed. In the case of pork specifically, if we consider the feed and manure combined, which is of course heavily influenced by the feed consumed, this contributes roughly 80% of the total environmental impact of pork. Also, the impact of the feed ingredients varies a lot and may be surprisingly high or low depending on the way it is produced. But it is even more complex, as it is also important where it is produced. The graphic on the right-hand side shows that there are large trade-offs in environmental impact of if you compare the same ingredient, in this case it is wheat, originating from different countries, even within the same region.
I understand, Christoph. This is very interesting. So what is the conclusion that we can extract from this?
In a nutshell, how we design the feed makes a difference for the environment.
Right. But of course, we all know of the complexity of environmental footprinting. Then, of course, there is the cost issue. Is there any way for feed producers and farmers to bridge this gap and reduce the environmental impact while keeping costs, both of the feed, of course, and of the environmental footprinting to a minimum?
As you rightly have mentioned, José, the key requirements of feed optimization are an adequate nutritional content and the minimum cost possible. This will not change. That is exactly why at BASF we have built AgBalance Livestock, which allows to smartly add the sustainability dimension to the equation. With our tool, the need for in-depth consultancy-based environmental impact studies that are money and time intensive is not longer there. With a simple user interface and minimum data input required, it is the nutritionist himself who is able to understand the environmental impact of the feed, the formulates, and adapt his formulation to minimize impact. It is essentially taking the environmental impact as the third dimension in feed formulation. That is why we recently partnered with Adifo, with the goal of introducing our tool as an add-on to their best mix solution. In the future, we will go one step further, being able to use the environmental aspect for optimization purposes.
So the user can obtain and understand the environmental impact of the feed, but also of the meat?
That is correct. Our tool has a variable scope, which means you can calculate the impact of the feed itself, of the live weight at farm level, or after harvesting. This enables sustainability claims as well as simplifies the process of reporting and innovation.
That is indeed impressive, Christoph. With no need for an in-depth expertise in sustainability to use our tool, we are essentially democratizing the access to sustainability insights. I'm just curious, when can we see the tool in action?
We will host a launch webinar event on March 23rd. Together with the media partner, we will dive deeper into the tool itself. We will showcase a live demo with our first partner in feed formulation software, Adifo BestMix. Real use cases will be shown and all further details about the tool will be clarified. To sign up for this webinar, please scan the QR code on your screen or follow the link below the code in your browser. We look forward to seeing all interested parties in our webinar and are open for discussions. For any questions in the meantime, please feel free to contact me.
Thank you, Christoph, very much for this insightful presentation. Let's now open the Q&A round and answer all the questions from the audience. Thank you very much.